Everyone. Welcome to day 2 of Stoic Week, and today the topic is Stoic self-discipline and simplicity. So we can neatly chop both of those in half, as indeed the handbook does. So first I'll deal with, self-discipline, why not? So the initial morning reading that was suggested for this week was from Seneca's On the Brevity of Life. And basically, the gist of that passage is there is enough time in the day, we just fill it up with a load of rubbish and we don't achieve all that we can achieve during the day. So basically, if you feel like there isn't enough time in the day, there really is if you try hard enough. So, personal thoughts on that. Yes, I suppose. I imagine there are lots of ways that we could make things simpler. Um, for example, I don't know, if you're a student, you might be tempted just to spend most of the day on the internet and not do anything worthwhile. You can drown in a sea of emails as well and that sort of thing. So I guess that's where the self-discipline side of things comes into things. That's where you say, right, I am going to adhere roughly to the structure of my day. I mean, that's what timetables are for. Everybody does it. It's not just the Stoics. Silly Stoics. So, yeah, self-discipline. And one of the things they suggest is, for today, a day being the organisers of Stoic Week, is to get back sort of to basics. They suggest eating more healthily, giving something up for a week. Last year I gave up drinks besides water. This year I haven't done that. Well, partly because I'm lazy, I suppose. But I haven't had any alcohol yet this week, so I guess this week I will give up alcohol. And I will try and spend my days more usefully and just not waste time, I suppose. I'll have to let you guys know how that gets on. Maybe at the end of the week I can do a sort of day-by-day account of things that were suggested and see how well I adhered to them. Who knows? Or maybe I'll forget, in which case Stoic Week really hasn't done me much good, or we'll be able to see. We'll be able to quantify that and determine Stoic Week's impact because of this. Right. So, yes, one of the things they say is this simplicity meant consuming very plain food and drink, wearing simple clothes, and sleeping on a rough straw mat. I'm not going to sleep on a rough straw mat, I'm afraid. I've got my bed behind me. I'm very comfortable with it. But it seems to me that this sort of lifestyle is fairly achievable on a student's budget. So, I think I dress fairly simply. I try to eat healthily and plainly often because I'm trying to save money anyway. Now, it seems, but that's not the point. That's not how the Stoics would see it. They probably see it more as self-discipline. Being able to notice, I suppose, that there are finer things like ice cream. Why not? There's ice cream. Don't eat ice cream this week, Sam. Don't eat food for the sake of food being enjoyable. Eat food because it nourishes the body, and I guess thus in turn nourishes the mind. Virtue being the one true good, we should be trying to get virtue into our lives, not calories that make us feel good, I guess. And I guess also, as a byproduct of that, don't not eat. Sorry, I'm being told things by my computer. Don't not eat for the sake of not eating. Don't skip meals, I suppose, because you need to spend your day as well you can. So yeah, don't let your body not be nourished, just as you shouldn't be letting your mind not be nourished. I don't know, I'm riffing here. Maybe Seneca said something completely different. Maybe Marcus Aurelius would have had my head on a pike for this. Who knows? Feel free to let me know if you have any thoughts on that. Other things. Yes, so for the Stoics, exercise is something that's not, again, it's not for the sake of looking good. It's for the sake of the self-discipline that entails. If you do push-ups and sit-ups every day, for example, that would be because you are able to adhere to this strict regimen. And I can see the point of that. Maybe I should do that more. Who knows? Sometimes I try to, do some exercise in the mornings and afternoons. But I don't know. I'm normally too lazy or too busy. I can't find the time of day. Maybe I should be doing more with Stoicism. Do that. Maybe I will also try to do some exercise this week. Um, who knows? If I don't mention it, I probably didn't do it. So yes. But on a serious note, I think it is important that we do have self-discipline. Obviously, if you need to do anything in life, you need to be able to allocate times a day. Um, and I have noticed this with the PhD, is that it is without a specific timetable for you, we have to be very self-disciplined anyway. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Today I think went well on that regard. I've done reading. I've taken notes. I've written some things. It's things are progressing, and that feels good. Um, yes, trying to slot everything into time of day is a very important thing. Probably something I didn't appreciate quite enough when I was an undergraduate, but learning curves and that sort of thing. So hey, who knows? Um, and so. Well, the evening text for reflection, let's have a look at that. It's from Lucan's Civil War. Very interesting text, if you ever read it in Latin. And this is on Cato, who shows up during this book, which is on the civil war between Caesar and Pompey at the end of the Republic, which then led on to the further civil war with Octavian and Mark Antony, and then eventually Octavian became emperor as Augustus. As just to give you an idea of that, if you don't know the history, you learned something today. So here's what Lucan says. This was the character and this the unswerving creed of austere Cato, to observe moderation, to hold to the goal, to follow nature, to devote his life to his country, to believe that he was born not for himself but for all the world. In his eyes to conquer hunger was a feast, to ward off winter with a roof was a mighty palace, and to draw across his limbs the rough toga in the manner of Roman citizen of old was a precious robe, and the greatest value of Venus was offspring. So all of those things, you might think that the finest things in life are the finest things in life. But what Lucan's saying about Cato there is that to Cato, even the basics were the finest things in life. So, instead of going out and buying the Galaxy chocolate, go out and buy Sainsbury's Basics. Basics are good, right? I guess to an extent, being able to appreciate the simplicity of things is itself a pleasure. Being able to deal with the fact, with cheap clothes, basic food, as long as it nurtures you, as long as it protects you, it still does a good job. I think that's not too dissimilar from the way I generally live. I mean, everyone indulges in luxuries from time to time. Sometimes I'll buy Galaxy chocolate over Sainsbury's Basics, but that's me. Something else that struck me just then from this passage, it says to him that he devoted his life to his country, believed he was born not for himself but for all the world, and I think this is a part of the whole Stoic, being a part of the cosmos of the whole world, being a part of something bigger, and realizing your own small place in that bigger picture. So yes, I mean, I honestly think it is quite comforting to realize that in the grand scheme of things, you are this itty bitty thing, and not to be a drama queen about everything. And once, I think knowing your limits is important. I mean, I should stress here that you shouldn't. That doesn't necessarily mean you're never going to amount to anything in life. That's different. That's you being very negative, I guess. Not realizing your place in the world because you're saying you don't belong in a place in the world. Something like that. Anyway, but knowing that you're not going to be the next William Shakespeare, maybe. I mean, you well could be. As long as you know your own limits. I know from the fact that I'm not going to be the next Will Shakespeare. But who knows? Maybe I'll be the next Plautus. We can but tell. So yes, I guess know your limits, know where you are in the world. Try not to be try not to live too luxuriously. Be happy with what you have, and try to push yourself to keep yourself self-disciplined. And it does reward you if you're doing especially if you're doing some sort of studying type thing where you have a lot of time to yourself. It can be very easy to just do nothing, or I don't know, go shopping or play video games or something all day. There is pleasure in that, sure, but if you're doing that all the time, you are wasting the time you have, and then you'll think you've wasted your life and that there isn't enough time in the day, when in fact you should be doing things, you could have been doing things that were more important. Also, a Stoic would say. I'd say you're young, you learn things through experience. But yes, there is a point to that, and yes, another potential modern use for nature philosophy. I guess we'll chat tomorrow. Oh, what is tomorrow's thing? Tomorrow we will be talking about the Stoic reserve clause and action. I guess we'll find out what that is tomorrow if I have time to make one of these. If not, we'll find out on Thursday. Who knows? So yeah, stay stoic. See you tomorrow.